Hello and welcome to the MyHeritage webinar series. I'm Jeff Rasmussen, your host, broadcasting to you live from Middleton, Idaho. Today we have MyHeritage's Uri Gonan with us, who is live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, for his class, Using Different Family Tree Views for Your Research. And from what I hear, we've got some real treats coming up for us here today. So thanks to Uri and thanks to the more than 1,800 of you for registering for today's live webinar. Wherever and whenever you are, glad to have you with us. So in only 11 days, millions of people have created 26 million animations using the new deep nostalgia technology that I just absolutely love. If you haven't seen it, this groundbreaking new photo feature allows you to animate the faces of your loved ones in still photos, and it's taken the internet by storm. I've really loved using it myself. There's the URL down there, myheritage.com/deep-nostalgia, and give it a try. And now it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Uri Gonan. Uri has been working at MyHeritage since 2005, where he took on different challenges and roles in product development and product management. He has been part of the wild journey of MyHeritage from a small startup to a dominant company in the genealogy space. Among his involvement in key projects of the company, Uri was the original developer behind Family Tree Builder and the product manager of MyHeritage's genealogy search engine. Recently, he was involved in several genealogical projects such as Pedigree Map, Pedigree View, Tree Consistency Checker, and several integrations with Family Search. And before joining MyHeritage, Uri has worked in other software startups in Israel, the United States, and Canada. He now lives and works in Toronto, Canada. So please put together your virtual hands and let's give Uri Gonan a nice warm webinar welcome. Hi, Uri, and welcome to the webinar.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to have you again.
Yeah,
see you again.
Glad to have you back. It's always fun to learn from one of the guys that's been there since the very beginning. And really looking forward to this today. So the screen looks good, Uri, and the time's all yours.
Hi, everyone. As Jeff said, I am one of the product managers, one of the original people in MyHeritage. I've been around for more than 20 years working in MyHeritage. I mean, not more than 20 years, but something like almost like that. And today I'm going to talk about the most important part of MyHeritage, which is the tools and the space and the interface for building your family tree. As Jeff mentioned just now, we just came out with something completely different, which is the deep nostalgia. And I just can't not show what I did on my tree just to give you an idea of what you can do. And I really encourage anyone that has photos, and I'm sure all of you do, of your ancestors to go ahead and try that. So let me show you how it looks on my family. So this is a photo here of my grandmother who passed away 40 years ago. So I only knew her not at this age, when she was probably in her 20s. So this is a photo that my father had, and I scanned it and added it to MyHeritage a long time ago. And you see it's kind of grainy. And one of the things that deep nostalgia does, and other tools that we have for photos, is to first sharpen it. So this is what happens after it automatically got sharpened. And then the deep nostalgia identified this face and then allows me to animate it. So this is how it looks like with the animation of deep nostalgia. So you can see here she's come back to life, and I can see a strong resemblance to my daughter, actually, which is quite nice. We actually have 10 different animations, and once you upload a photo, it picks the best one that it thinks for this photo, but you can play with other animations as well and see different facial expressions and different angles of this photo. So with that in mind, let's here, this is a different one. She's looking in different directions and different expressions. That's really fun. All right, now let's get back to serious business, which is the main family tree tools that we have on MyHeritage. So let me get back to my presentation. This is how the tree looks like on MyHeritage. So this is my family. I'm here, and my children, brothers and sisters, parents, grandparents, and so on appear here on the screen. And on the top right, we have this control for selecting from four different views. Many people are not aware of that, and they just use the default view, which is what we call the family view. But I'm going to talk about the different ones and how different ones are useful in different situations. So the family view, which is what you see by default. In this case, I have the family tree of my son, and he is in the center of the screen, and it shows what we call the family of this person, which is their close relatives. So brothers, sisters, parents, cousins, uncles, grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on. You can see that the name of this person appears here also on the top left. So you'll know which part of the tree. And every time you look at the tree, it shows you a portion of the tree. If you have a very large tree, in my case, I have almost 1,500 people, it tells me that right now you're looking at this person's tree and looking at only 47 out of the 1,477 people in my tree. Every person in the tree is represented using what we call a person's card. It has their name, birth information, death information if they're deceased, photo. And we see all these little icons on the cards. If we have matches or discoveries that we can tell you about this person, just based on the information that you entered. So we can see that there are magenta icons here for DNA. So in my case, I took a DNA test, and it tells me that I have matches. So that will be other people that have put their DNA on MyHeritage that have similar DNA to me. So there will be like third, fourth cousins, and of course, even closer than that if we can find any. The green icons here are what we call smart matches, which is similar profiles of people in other family trees, of other people on MyHeritage, of other MyHeritage members that have information about the same person, of what our system thinks it's the same person. So I have a lot of those. And the brown ones are what we call record matches, which are records about this person that we have in more than 13 billion records that we have to date and still growing. That would include census records, newspaper articles, birth records, and so on, and also profiles on family trees that are not MyHeritage. So that would be Family Search, it would be Genie, which is another family tree, and other such family trees available on the internet. You can see here that there's also these balloons. In this case, an anniversary balloon or a birthday balloon, if you're looking at a profile that has an upcoming birthday or wedding anniversary. So that would remind you about that. Another thing is that since the view at any given point doesn't show everybody in the tree, because it's not possible to show 1,500 people, and it would be a total mess. In this case, it shows me that there are people who are shown here, but have more relatives that are currently not shown here. So in this case, I'm pointing to two of my sisters-in-law, and it tells me that there is more information. Their parents, their brothers and sisters that are not shown here. So let's click, for example, on this icon that shows me that there is another branch here. And it will change the view and show that person's family tree, their parents, grandparents, and so on. And you can see that what we call the breadcrumbs changed, and it says that now you're watching another person's family tree, and in this case it's a smaller portion of the tree, only 13 people. And you can quickly go back by clicking on the previous person's name and kind of go back in your navigation. Let's continue. So now if I click a card on the tree, and we see that the card itself shows you the name, dates of birth and death, and those hints, those matches. If you click on that person, it'll open a panel on the left, and it shows you a lot more information. So it will show you full dates, it'll show you biography notes, all the photos, up to 4 photos that this person has, and access to more photos, and all the facts that you have added about this person. You can scroll down here and look at everything. So this is a handy way to access more information about the person without leaving the tree and going to a dedicated page, which we have in case you do want to enter or look at more information that is not provided in the panel. This is why we have this profile button here, which will go to that full page with more details. You can also edit the person's information by either clicking on the edit button in the panel, or even clicking on the little edit pencil on the card for quicker access. And this will open a small pop-up window, not that small, which allows you to enter or change names, dates and places of birth and death. And in case of marriage, also enter information about marriage date and place and status of marriage and so on. If you want more, then you can click here on the link below, which again will take you to a page that has all the information, including sources and including all the different things that you can add here, occupation, immigration information, whatever you have that you want to enter. From the list on the panel, you can also click on any particular fact and edit it directly, or add new facts here by clicking on the add facts. So you can, in addition to the quick edit, you can go to the facts tab and add and edit individual facts as well. Now, if I move up the tree here a bit, I can get to an area where I can see that there is a lot of room for additions. So I'm going up here, I'm getting to places where I still don't have ancestors, parents of these people. So what we have conveniently is empty cards that you can just quickly click on one of them, in this case the add father, and it will open up a small window that allows me to enter, just like we saw in the edit, to enter the information about this parent. In this case, the father, I would enter their name and dates, and if this person is deceased, their information that I have about that, and click OK, and that adds the parent very quickly. But you don't have to just add parents. Sometimes you want to add other people as well, other relatives. So we have this plus icon below each card in the tree. And in this case, this person already has parents, and she already has even a husband and children, 2 children. If you click here on the plus, it opens a selector of which other relatives you want to add. In this case, since they already have parents, you can't add them, but you can add a brother, a sister, a son, daughter, or in this case, another partner because they already have one. And again, in this case, let's say I want to add another daughter. It'll open up a similar dialogue that allows me to enter the name, the dates, and so on about the daughter. In the case of adding a child, it also asks you if this is the child also of her husband, or maybe you want to add a different husband. In this case, if this is not the daughter of both father and mother. You see this area here. Another interesting situation that can happen in this view is, and I'm looking at a real example in my family tree, is what we call Pedigree Collapse, where you have people appearing in the tree in more than one position. In this case, I see this couple, Avraham and Haya, appear twice, and this is two different cards about the same people. And that's why we have this X2 appearing in their card. You can see that Shlomo and Hannah were married, but actually Shlomo's parents are Hannah's grandparents. And that is because Shlomo, and that's what happened when, a long time ago, especially in small villages, has married his niece. So that's something interesting that can happen in the tree and you should be aware of. So that's the basic stuff. And if you click on the More button here in the panel, it opens up additional actions that you can perform in your tree. You can delete this person if you are no longer want this person to be in your tree, whether it's a mistake or whether you just don't want to deal with this side of the family for whichever reason that is. And you can also connect existing people in the tree. This is exactly how you create the situation, for example, of an uncle marrying their niece. You're not adding a new partner, you are connecting a partner that already exists in the tree as his niece. So that's where you would do the connect existing person or remove connection, which is one when you want to untie that. These actions here. So this is manipulation of the tree, but sometimes you're not working in exactly this view because you're looking for a particular person. So we have in the top right, we have this find person area. So you can just start typing a name. In this case, I added Zilber, and it will show me people in my tree with either a surname or a given name or a middle name or a married surname. Let's start with what I am typing, and I can just find that person. The more I type, the smaller the list becomes, and I can just select that person and just go directly to that person. So here is Moshe Zilberman, somebody in my tree, and you can see that it changed the breadcrumbs to be about that person, and that's how I can find them in the tree. Now, I want to point out some interesting things that we have here, which is these discovery cards. So remember, above a person, if you don't have still information about their parents, you will have an add parent card here. But here we have a situation where we actually have information on MyHeritage in other trees or through records, and we think we know who the parents of this person is. So we show you a yellow mustard colored card called Discovery. And if you click here, it'll show you that based on matches that we have to other trees, we actually have information about that branch that you can just quickly add to your tree. So if you want to do that, you can go ahead and quickly add a whole branch using information on MyHeritage. A few more things is the settings button that you can see here next to the search, the find control, and that opens up a panel on the right with a lot more options that you can play with. You can change the size of the tree using this generations to display, and this is very handy, especially if you have a large tree and you see way too many people and you want to condense that view. You can also control the cards, whether to show different things on the cards, whether to show the instant discoveries, is what the mustard cards that we talked about before, And there's name preferences where you can deal with that as well. So this is quite sophisticated and helpful as well. So let's summarize this. We have a view which we call the family view, and it shows a person and their tree around them. It's easy to navigate to more branches using those little mini trees above cards that have more relatives. And it's easy, and it focuses on adding more people to the tree, especially more ancestors that are missing. And this is the default view for most people, unless you go and change that. If you prefer the other views, then let's look at that. So the next view that we have is what we call the pedigree view. And I'm sure you know what that is, because that's one of the most popular ways to look at a family tree. So this is the second view in this view selector. If you click on the pedigree icon, it becomes orange and it says Pedigree View next to it. And now you can see, and this is again my son. And this time it shows you a different view of the tree. It only shows this person's parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on, 6 levels, so up to the 5th level ancestor. No sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, and so on, and cousins. So this is a lot more focused on this person's ancestors, and that's very useful in many situations. Again, each card has these matches for icons for matches, for DNA matches, for record matches. This is the same kind of features that we have in the other views. And again, if you click a person, it shows a panel. And you can see, by the way, that the design of the pedigree view is a little different than what we saw before, because this is a newer design. And in fact, I'm going to talk in a bit about how we are planning very soon to roll out a new design and new functionality in the family view as well. And we'll talk about that soon. So again, we can see here all the information about, almost all the information about the person on the left panel. We also see here that there's a section called immediate family. And that is shows you all of this person's close relatives, because the view itself, since it's a pedigree view, doesn't show you all the close family of the person. In this case, this is my grandmother. And I'm looking at a tree of my son, so it only shows my mother as her child, but there are other children. And it doesn't show you her brothers and sisters as well. So if you go into the immediate family section, it'll list all children and all siblings as well. So it's an easy way to navigate from here and click on that person and see their pedigree tree. And again, if you scroll down, you will get to photos, you will get to all the facts, and you can add and edit just like we saw before. On the right, you can see that since this view only shows 6 levels up, it allows you to see more generations if there are. So in this case, we can see here that Hannah has more ancestors in the tree. So that's why there is a white circle here that allows me to expand. And if I do, it'll show me 2 more generations of this person's ancestors. And if I click again, it can show me even more. So here I have quite a lot of generations up in my research. Or I can collapse them back. So it allows me to see more on a specific branch of the tree without leaving the tree. So pedigree view, to summarize, it shows a person in the tree and their ancestors. It focuses on the history of a specific individual, their ancestors, and how they came to be. And it has a newer design, which is soon going to be applied to the family view as well. Okay, the third view that we have is what we call the fan view. And here again is my son, and we see their fan view. This is the similar in the sense of which people we show. It is exactly the same as Pedigree View. So we show a person, their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on. By default, 6 levels, just like the Pedigree View. And you can see that the colors go from red, which is the maternal line, all the way to blue, which is the paternal line, with the orange, yellow, green in the middle as it turns from maternal to paternal. So in this case, this is his mother's father and his parents, so that will be the yellow part. And the green would be his father's mother's side. You can see that it's very visually very pleasing and very nice to look at as well. Then this is the third view called fan view, as we said. And here in the fan view, we actually allow you to go all the way up to 10 generations. In this case, I selected 10, and I can see that it's quite a large fan and allows me to see exactly where I have done my research and where are my missing pieces. So all the places that are empty allow me to click on this plus, just like I did in the other views, and to add an ancestor from there in the same exact way. A nice variation of this view, and you can get to it by clicking on this icon here, which is the paint palette. It switches to a color-oriented view, which doesn't show the names of the ancestors and the dates, but only shows the colors and where I have people in my tree and where I am missing people in the tree. And it does only show the 8 ancestral surnames of this person. So starting from the most paternal all the way to the completely maternal side of the tree. And this is a nice view that we also allow you to share on social media. I think it's quite nice, and you can kind of show what research you have done and share it with your friends. So here you can share it on Facebook. You can share it on Twitter. It's just a link, and that's very nice. And you can also download this and print it or email it as well to people. Again, just like in all the other views, if you select a person in the fan view, click it, and it'll show you all the details, allow you to see matches. Here we don't show the matches icon on the fan itself. We think it's not that useful, and it also makes it way too busy. But you can see all the matches that you have, the discoveries on the left. In this case, you also have what we call a consistency issue. And Jeff mentioned that just before. One of the nice tools that we have is a consistency checker, which you can run on your tree. And we run it automatically on your tree, actually. And it looks for potential errors or inconsistencies in your tree, ranging from blatant errors like a person with a birth date after their death date, obviously a mistake, or a person was born before their parent, which is obviously a mistake. And it could be more minor things, such as you have somewhere 2 children with the same name, which could be okay, but could be a mistake, maybe a duplication, or maybe something else, and so on. So in this case, it found already that this ancestor here, there is an inconsistency issue that was found. Click it, and you'll see what it is, and potentially fix it. So to summarize this view, it again shows the same people as Pedigree View, although you do have an option to show more generations. Visually appealing and more compact, so you can see in the same screen a lot more people, even more than in the Pedigree View. It has a text and color mode, and you can share a picture of your tree on social media or save it to your computer. The last one is the list view. To get to it here from the same tree view selector. And this is not really a tree view, but it's a list view. But again, it shows you all the people in your family tree just as a flat list. So here I am, and these are the first people in my tree. I can scroll down and I can see that it shows you 50 pages because I have almost 1,500 people in my tree. Again, click a person, and it shows you on the left the panel with all their information. So it's very consistent like all the other views. Going back to here, so by default we're showing, we're sorting the list based on the relationship to you. So you can see yourself first, then your children, parents, brothers, sisters, and so on. So as the list goes down, it's people who are further and further away from you. But you can change the sorting to be by name, by last name, by first name, by birth date, birthplace, and so on. So this is a more powerful tool to allow you to find people, to look at what's happening in your tree from a list perspective. So here I am sorting, in this case, by birth date. So I will see at the top people with the earliest recorded birth dates in my tree, and going and starting from 1781, 1789, and so on. In this case, I am sorting by first name. And so you see here all these people starting with D and so on. And this is actually a helpful tool to spot duplications. Here I have two people with the same name, almost, one with a middle name, with the same birth date. So this screams duplication and allows me to find it and go and probably remove one of them or investigate what's happening here. You can also click on the filters, which allows you to quickly jump to a specific letter in the alphabet and look at people with last names starting with L in this case. So that's like an address book feature. And like we saw before in all the other views, we have a search, and we have here as well. In this case, it's a little different because if I type in, for example, David, and hit enter, the list narrows down to all the people whose first name or last name or middle name starts with what I wrote here, David. So people with a last name and first name of David. Again, a quick way to find people. And in this case, I'm searching for people with both first and last name, full name of David, but I can narrow it down to only first name, only last name, or even places. So I can look for people who were born or have died in a certain place. So again, to review, what is the list? And it's a place where you can list all the people in the tree. It's good for sorting and searching, and it's good for spotting duplications, like we said. All these views are also available on our mobile. If you're in this case using your phone to look at MyHeritage, in this case it's what we call the mobile web view. The family view and the pedigree view, but not the fan view, are already also available in the mobile app that we have. The fan view will be added later on. Okay, so now let's talk about what's coming up. And what is coming up is that we are taking the family view, the default view, and upgrading it in style and also in functionality. We're adding a few things as well to make it more consistent with all the other views that we have. So this is how the family view will look like very soon. In fact, we're going to start a beta program which allows people to get this view, but also switch back if they want to the previous, what we call the classical view, the more color-intensive pink and blue cards that we saw before. So anybody who wants to be part of the program, which will start soon, can write in the feed, and Jeff will take note of all that. And once the beta program is starting to run, we'll make sure that we're adding anybody who is volunteering for the test. So let's look at this. We basically see the same type of tree that we saw before, but with a different color scheme. Clicking a person shows the panel that we saw before, but it's the same look and feel of the panel that we saw in the Pedigree fan and list view. So it has that functionality where it shows you more information, more nicely organized, more accessible. Another thing that we are doing in this new design is that we're making these add mother, add father cards smaller, also the discovery ones. And the reason we're doing that is that we're trying to make the family view more compact horizontally, because we know that once you have a large tree, and I have, well, I wouldn't even say a large tree, but a decent sized tree, but especially if there's a lot more, the tree becomes quite large and takes too much space on the screen, and people tend to like scroll right and left too much. So we wanted to make it a lot smaller. So actually reducing the sizes of the cards at the top will make the entire tree much smaller, which is very helpful. Another thing that we did, if you remember, we had a way to change the size of the tree, which was available in the settings panel, which is a little harder to access. We kind of moved this to the top, which we call the generations control. And this allows you to, again, make the tree smaller or bigger really quickly. And we also added an option that's called Show Cousins, which if you uncheck that, it actually removes a lot of people from the view of the tree, not from the tree. Here in this case, you see that I am also looking at my mother's brother in this case, and all his family, so cousins of mine. If you uncheck that, it will remove all of his branch from the tree. It'll show this more people in their branch next to him, but will remove all of this part from the tree, from the view, which will make the whole thing more compact and will make the person's ancestors a lot more close in the view. So we think that could help a lot too. And another thing that we're adding is a way to toggle between horizontal and vertical cards, again, in an attempt to reduce the horizontal size of the tree so that it's much less wide. So you can control that through the settings. The settings here has another option called vertical cards, and if you choose that, you will see the tree like this, and you can toggle back and forth. We also made the zoom area and the panning area a lot smaller. If you use the tree today, you see that it's quite large and it appears here, and we're condensing it to a much smaller control, because we think that people understand what zooming is. You don't need to advertise that so much. Another thing that we're adding to the tree is a relationship diagram. One of the things that we find that people have an issue with is trying to figure out who this person is in the tree. I have 1,500 people. Some people have more. Sometimes a lot of the people weren't even added by the user. Either it was added through our discovery system that we showed before, those mustard cards, or sometimes several people collaborate in the tree, and you're not the only person adding people to your tree. So what we're adding is a quick way to understand how a person is related to you. So here is the list view that we were in before. I clicked on a person here, and they're showing that this is your father's cousin's husband's niece. And that could be a lot of people, and it's not necessarily easy to understand what that means. So now the relationship is clickable. You see this dashed underline below this name, and if I click the name, it'll explain to me how I am related to this person. So this is how this person's is my father's cousin's husband's niece, like this, and it shows me the whole path, and I understand how this person is related to me. This is actually even more helpful, not necessarily in the tree, but in other places in the site. For example, let's say we're alerting you to a record match about a person, and you're going there and looking at the record match, but you want to really understand who is this person, and that will allow you to see a diagram, just the one that we're seeing here, from other places in the site as well. So we think this is going to be very useful. That's it. This concludes what I have to say about the different views. So remember, there's more than one view, and you can choose to work on any one of them and understand your tree, add people to your tree, and visualize them in interesting ways.
Well, very good.
Any questions?
Very
Back
good,
to you,
Uri.
Jeff.
Thank you so much. My chat log here has blown up with the number of people writing in, requesting, hoping to be part of the beta. Also, there's two things that people just really, really loved. The relationship diagram there at the end, that really is nice. And they really loved the fan and the different things that you can do with that fan. So nice job. Uri, the number one question that's come in is being able to print the different views. Is it possible to print what you're seeing on the screen? Is there a chart that we can print out the fan? Could you comment on that?
Yes. So the fan actually you can print because we have the download capability. One of the options there, it's actually not working at the moment. We have a bug that was introduced a few days ago that I'm going to make sure is fixed very soon. But once it's fixed, you can download an image, a photo in a way of the fan view. So an image that you can download to your computer and then you can print it. So that's taken care of. The other views, we don't have a print per se, but what we do have is another section of the site called Print Charts and Books. Let me actually go now
and leave
the presentation and go to the site.
Great.
So if you go here to the settings of the tree, and this is the new view, but it's also in the old view, we have here Print Chart. So it doesn't actually go right now and print this, what you see. It goes to a different section in the site, which is called Charts and Books. So there you can now select which type of chart. And in this case, if I want to do the same view as the family view, I would select what's called Close Family. You can see it's the same type of view. And you will select, there's many different styles of charts that you can use, and who is in the center of the chart, and then generate the chart. Or in this case, I actually have charts that I generated in the past, so I can look at them. So as just a few examples that I had, and one of them is a fan. So through here, you can actually do a lot of printing. So let's just take this, for example, something I created some time ago. It creates a PDF, and if I open it, it's a PDF, and I can go and print it. So that's the way you would print your tree on MyHeritage.
Could you show the sun chart, Uri?
Yes.
MyHeritage is the only place you can get a sun chart, and I just love it. Yeah, there you go, right there.
So this is something that I generated some time ago. So let's look at that. So it shows you here. Let's zoom in a bit. You select an ancestor, and it will show you their descendants in a kind of what we call a sun chart. So it's a, let's close this. So they're children on the first ring, children and their children's spouses. And in the second ring, their grandchildren. And in the third ring, their great-grandchildren, and so on. So altogether, it creates a very nice, let's do the opposite here, the view of the tree as a sun.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay. Let's see. What are Speaking of the fan view, Lana wrote this. She said, the fan view shows me where the gaps in my tree are very quickly and
That's
which
true.
branches are longer than the others. And then she says, but it's also inspirational, like all the ancestors are standing together for a photo. Interesting way of putting that. I've never considered that, Lana. That's really neat. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Well, Uri, I've got lots of questions here, but let's just take a moment, and I'm going to switch over to my screen, and we will do some door prizes, and then we'll continue. And Uri, if you help me remember, I've created my own view, and I'd be curious what your thoughts are about this. So I'll show that.
Okay.
I'll try to remember to show that here in just a bit. I had a lot of fun with it. Well, speaking of fun, we're going to hear from Tal, and I have a hard time saying his name, Ehrlichman, in our next MyHeritage webinar series for See Your Ancestors Like Never Before with MyHeritage's photo tools, and I imagine that he'll take us in great depth with the new deep nostalgia, because there is a lot that you can do with it. So just sign up at the webinar website, and then we'll see you then. And next we'll do door prizes, and so this first door prize will give away a Premium Plus Family Site subscription, plus the data subscription. So that's what the complete plan is. It gives you everything. And I just updated this. I had the number 12 there, and as Uri was talking, I went out to make sure that was the latest, and nope, it's been updated to 13.1 billion historical records now, so it does keep on growing, which is wonderful. Okay, so if you're here, you are eligible to win. And if I call your name, then, just watch for an email from MyHeritage, and we'll take care of that fulfillment. Okay, so our first door prize winner here today, we have Michael. I'm just writing down your name here, Michael Shear. Congratulations to you, Michael. Hope that was fun to hear your name on the air. And then let's do a MyHeritage DNA test kit. It's always fun to give away goodies like this. And we're going to say congrats to Valerie Lisk. So congrats to both of you. Okay, let's bring Uri back on here. And Uri, while I'm thinking about it, let's do this. I'm going to bring my web browser over, and I'm going to go into my photos. This is kind of the background to showing you this new chart that I created. Anyway, so here's some of the photos in my gallery, and this one particularly of my great-grandparents was incredible to me. So this is what it looked like before the color restoration and the enhancement, and look at that. I mean, what a great enhancement. But I'm going to go down. I've already clicked on the animate button, and so I'm going to just click on his right here, and let me hit. Here we go. And when my I was talking to you earlier about this, Uri. When my aunt saw this. And this is her grandfather. When she saw this, she just burst down in tears, because he's just so. And look at that smile there at the end, just so kind, and it's just so touching to see them come back to life like this. Okay, and so I was doing that, Uri, of all of the people on my pedigree. I was uploading their photos and creating their animations, and then I thought this: since we have this webinar coming up with Uri on the different views, I thought I would create my own view, and I'm gonna play that for you here, and I don't know. Tell me what you think afterwards. I called this "Not Your Ordinary Pedigree Chart." So here we go.
It
Okay.
was very nice.
Okay. So
Okay, I guess we have the fifth view that we have to add.
yeah, yeah. So you could tell I had a little bit of fun with that, but what I really enjoyed about it was seeing the actual animation of the of my ancestors on the actual chart. So yeah, let's. So when you're all done with everything else that you're working on, Uri, you can animate our different views there at MyHeritage. All right. Um, should we do some questions here? Are you ready for
Go
that?
for it.
Okay. Yeah, for about 98% of you, that the technology I just used to show you that video worked. A couple of you are I'm seeing it didn't work. Oh, and thanks for all of the fun comments that you've sent in about that. All right, let's. We've got a question about the views, Uri, in MyHeritage, comparing it to the views in Family Tree Builder. Is there any uh, do they cross? Do they match up, or are those two separate entities as far as the views are concerned?
There are separate, separate products, and they don't use the same code or technology.
Okay.
We recently added the Pedigree View, and it doesn't. It looks. It's the same logic of who is appears and how the tree is organized, but it looks a little different because it's just the look and feel of Family Tree Builder. So we have that. And with the first view in Family Tree Builder is not exactly like Family View. It's sort of like, if you know Family Search, it's a bit like that because it shows you a couple and their parents and grandparents. So a pedigree view from a couple, and then the children and grandchildren of that person, of
Okay.
this couple. So it's not really a family view what we have on the site, and it's not really pedigree view. It's something in between,
Okay.
and it's very similar to what you see on Family Search by default.
So a few people are asking if they could download their tree to a program on their computer, and if they wanted to do that, Family Tree Builder would be the one to synchronize between your offline and online environment. Is that right?
Yes, Family Tree Builder connects to your tree on MyHeritage. So if you have already a tree in MyHeritage, you can just download a Family Tree Builder and then ask it to connect to, using your credential, it will connect to your tree and bring it down.
Okay.
Or if you're starting from Family Tree Builder and starting to work there, and then you can connect it and synchronize it to the tree online. So some people can work from the view that we see here, the regular web view, and some people, you can work on your software Family Tree Builder and it just synchronizes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So speaking of views, here's a question from Chris. Is there any way to really quickly navigate to the home person in a tree apart from utilizing the search box? You mentioned the breadcrumbs. Is that always up there
Yes.
for the main
Right.
person?
So if I'm here, I'm looking at my tree and I started from so if you go to the tree, it'll start from yourself by default, like I'm seeing here. And then let's say I navigate to another part
Oh,
of the tree.
I think I'm showing my screen right now. Should I switch over to
Oh,
you?
okay. Yes, go switch over
Okay,
to
let's
mine.
switch over to you.
Yes. Okay, do you see it?
I'm not yet.
You're still seeing your screen?
Well,
Right.
maybe the is audience. Are you seeing Uri's screen right now? Okay, you are. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
So I'm looking at it starts from me, so that's what you call the home person. And then let's say I expanded the branch here or search the person, and it changes the tree to be them. So if you click back on my name here, it'll go back to me. So that's a quick way to do that.
okay.
Sometimes you will get to the tree not through starting from you, but directly to another person. So let's say you were looking at a record match and you're wanting to see that person's tree, so it'll get to you without starting from yourself, but direct to that person. So the best way to, if you're stuck in that, you just click on the name of the view, family view. So let's say I'm starting from here and I'm in a different view now. I can always just click here again. I'm clicking on the name family view, and it should bring me back to myself.
Okay. Yeah, the audience, they're saying they're still seeing my screen, but I was following along with exactly what you're doing, and I'm seeing just up here in the upper left-hand corner, everyone, that your home person is, it just appears right here. And as you move from view to view or expand in that pedigree view, just click right here, and it always takes you right back to you. So, yeah, very good. Thanks so much. I think I've got to do something here on my end to turn off that video that I was showing, and I can't quite figure out how to do that right now. I think here we go. No. Oh, well, at any rate, people are still seeing my screen, and we'll just work with that.
Okay, I stopped sharing my screen, although it never really did anything.
Oh, okay. So I'll switch it back here. Now maybe people can see my questions slide. Okay, so thanks for your patience on that, everyone. But Judy was noticing when she was looking at your tree that there were some names that weren't in English, and she's wondering, is there a way to translate those names into a different language?
Yes, so in my tree, some of the names are in Hebrew because I'm Israeli originally, and a lot of my family is there, and a lot of the work on the tree is not done by myself, and they add it in different languages. You would have it sometimes in Russian or Greek or other characters that are not even Latin letters. If you're working with Family Tree Builder, actually there we have an automatic translations between some languages.
Oh, really?
But in the tree itself on the web, there is no way to automatically translate a name in your tree from one language to another.
Okay. I know we have the incredible searching technology that will search.
Yes.
And what's that phrase called?
Transliteration, if
Okay.
you call it.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Yes,
I know
if you're
it's
searching for a name and we find, let's say you're searching in English, you're typing a name, it will also find that name written in other languages, so Hebrew, Russian, and so on. So
yeah, love that.
Yeah.
So thanks for that question. And Elizabeth, we've answered your question about the relationship chart that he was showing, and thanks Judy for that question. Mary has an interesting question, Uri. She says if someone has a large tree that might be on another website, is there a way of adding that tree to MyHeritage, or must it all be entered one by one?
Okay, so there are several ways. There are basically two ways. Every other website or software that you have your tree on supports what's called exporting your tree to a common format called GEDCOM, which is a genealogy format of your tree. So if you're working on another site, there is a way there, usually through the settings section and our site as well, that you can export your tree. And it creates a file that you download to your computer. And then you can go and upload that file. So if you go to the family tree view, you can see here, family, right there where you were. Open the menu, it says import GEDCOM.
Ah, right here.
Yeah. So there you will upload your tree, and it will create a new tree with all the information.
Okay.
We also have And right now it's actually disabled in the last few days. But we have a way, if your tree is on family search, there is a way to just bring it over without all that process. So
oh, really?
you want to go to family search, there's a way here to say, synchronize your tree with MyHeritage, and it'll just bring part of the tree on family search around you into MyHeritage really quickly.
Well, very good. Thank you. Bob is wondering about the images. Are those when we have images in our tree or in our photos area? Bob is wondering, are those images uploaded to a MyHeritage server, or does MyHeritage, is it just linking to those images on my computer? What happens with the images?
Yeah, the images that you looked at, the ones that you, Jeff, showed of your family, they are sitting on the MyHeritage servers. Yeah, they're uploaded to there.
Okay. Here's a 4th-generation photograph
Nice.
of me when I was the child, and I just love how it enhances it. This is where I created the video. So one of the questions here is, where do we find those 10 different options for animation? And what I just noticed right here at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the menu. So it chose animation number 7 to be the default. And when I click here, this is where you find those other animations. So if maybe you're not too excited about the default one, then just go and choose a different animation. And like Uri was showing earlier, it may have the person facing a different direction. Perhaps they smile a little bit more. I'm not sure what all of the variables are, but he's thinking there. Okay, I like that. You need to be careful when you're using this, everybody, because it gets really addicting. Okay. Well, it looks like, Uri, other than all of the comments in here of people saying that they want to be part of the beta, one question about the beta was, do you need to already have a MyHeritage membership to participate in the beta?
Yes, well, you need to have a tree on MyHeritage, and for that you need to sign up. So, okay. Because, like you said, all the information is stored on MyHeritage in a section for you, your tree, and it's accessible. Only you can edit it, and only you can see all the information. Other people will only see by default information about deceased people in your tree.
Yeah.
So for privacy reasons, but yeah, you need to sign up. And once you sign up, it's assuming it's the same email address that you have registered to the webinar, then we can identify you in your on MyHeritage and add you to the beta program.
So, Uri, one of the reasons I love having you on the webinar with us is we always get that sneak peek of what's coming. So, yeah, thanks for doing that. We just love that. And also, I've got several good suggestions here from the audience that I'll forward to you. And I know that MyHeritage is very responsive to the public, and so yeah, it's exciting to see what happens. So, Uri, any final thoughts or parting words before we say goodbye?
No, just that, like you mentioned, that we're always trying to innovate, both on genealogy, adding all kinds of records that you can search. We're improving the family tree, the basic stuff. We're never really stagnant, and always adding fun things like the deep nostalgia and colorization of photos. So we're always thinking about our users and trying to delight them and give them a worth for the experience.
Well, we all sure feel it. We are delighted. Well, thanks, Uri, for your time here today, and look forward to seeing what's coming. And thanks to all of you, wherever and whenever you are around the world. Sure, nice to share part of our days with you. And remember, life is short. Do genealogy first. Bye, everyone. Bye, Uri.
Thanks. Bye.